You're watching Channel 4 News with 15-time Emmy Award nominated, never won anchor, Chelch Reglian. Our reporter in the field, Leroy Jenkins. With Benjamin Dover and Cletus Abraham. Tonight's top story, Chester Company still in the hole? We dive into the management team and investigate what they've done to reach this performance level and what they learned in the process.
Hi, Jeff Reglian here. I'm with the management team of Christian Gambrell, Joey Gijola, Jeremy Reeves, and Brandon Worley. Now, Brandon, what can you tell us about your Capsim experience?
Well, Chelch, overall, our experience was not so excellent. As a company, we experienced many roadblocks which kept us from achieving our objectives.
Yes, please go on.
The first problem we encountered was taking an emergency loan after round one. This was due to our large amount of built-up inventory, as well as an abnormally large amount of variable costs.
And where does your company stand today?
Chester Company ended the simulation with a total market share of 16.51%, a cumulative profit of negative $1,047,712, and a contribution margin of 36.9%. Our ending stock price was $9.27, and we finally were able to avoid emergency loan in the 8th round. Our greatest success in these 8 rounds was one of the highest market shares of all the segments, which was one of our original goals. Chester Company learned a great deal about managing a company to include sales forecasting, product development, financing business operations, and total quality management.
Interesting stuff. Now we'll go over to Leroy, who will talk with Jeremy Reeves about his balanced scorecard.
Now, Jeremy, Chester appears to be doing awful in a majority of these metrics. How do you explain this?
Well, if you look at our balanced scorecard, you'll see that there's a section for recapitulation interim results. With this business, it's an overall look at how the company has performed over the length of the simulation. If you look at Chester's results for the recap, you can see that we did not do so well in the financial sector. This was in part as a result of the numerous emergency loans that we took on, plus the fact that we could not make more annual sales than we did. Another result of all this is that our operating profit was nowhere near what it could have been if our costs were not controlled. Our customer survey score for our products was actually very good though, so our problems really were an issue of cost and inventory control rather than an issue with our product. If we could have figured out where all of our costs were coming from, we may have been able to do better in the long run.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of what you just said, and frankly, I don't know how anybody could understand it. Let's go over to Benjamin and see if he can understand any of that.
Thank you, Leroy. So, Joey, you're going to talk a little bit about your success measures, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Dover. There are a system for predetermining and measuring our team's objectives and results. In the real world, companies have different goals. Some firms want higher profits, others want a higher market share. This success measurement is supposed to show how well our team succeeds in reaching any combination of the goals, as in profits, market share, asset turnover, stock price, and market capitalization. Our instructor allowed the teams to decide which measurements we wanted to be judged upon. We had to adjust at least 2 different measures, and these measurements are what we came up with. Our average ROS was 12%. Our average asset turnover was 12%. Our average ROA was 14%. Our average ROE was 10%. Our ending stock price was 12%. Our ending market cap was 16%, and we ended with cumulative profits of 13%.
All of what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to holding my attention. Everyone watching this is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul. Now to Cletus with the analyst report.
So, Mr. Gambrell, what can you tell us about your analyst report?
Chester's analyst report shows that we did very poorly in many of the sections. For the profit section, we only scored in round 1 and in round 8.
but for both we scored 100 points. The emergency loan section showed the same thing. We took out emergency loans for rounds 2 through 7, causing us to generate 0 points. The market share category was a different story. We continued to score better after each round. We had 20 points at the end of the first round, and by round 8 we generated 60 points. Throughout the whole simulation, we had issues with product forecasting. This was evident in our forecasting section, showing that we scored 0 points for the first 5 rounds. But when we figured it out, we began to score in the final 3 rounds. Since we had many emergency loans and very poor financial structure, we were unable to create a positive profit, thus hurting our chances on creating wealth. This report tells us that the emergency loans generated throughout rounds 2 through 7 led to Chester Company struggling with scoring big in the analyst report. Overall, Chester Company scored 2,276 points. Not too hot, Cletus.